Oh, hi there, boys and girls! Okay, settle down, because this isn't Sesame Street. Okay, troops, we got a lot of ground to cover, so let's just get started. Today, we shall be talking about a very important and misunderstood topic, and that is the topic of Amira le'akum. Let's break it down now, shall we? Amira, from the root word amar, which means to say. Le'akum, to akum. The word akum is actually an acronym and simply means non-Jew. Put them together, and what have you got? Not bibbidi boppity boo, don't get distracted here. It means that the topic of Amira le'akum is going to be discussing to us, Jews, what we are not allowed to say or ask from a non-Jew on Shabbos or Yom Tov, specifically talking about performing melacha on those days. Amir le'akum is an Issur D'Rabbanan, meaning it's prohibited by the guys with long white beards. No, not those beards. Yeah, more like those. But in all seriousness, here is the question of the day. Why are we not allowed to ask a non-Jew to do melacha for us on Shabbos or Yom Tov? Well, there are 3 reasons, peeps. Number 1, the Rambam says that if you ask a non-Jew to perform any act for you, then eventually they are afraid that the Jew will come to do those things himself, because he will take Shabbos lightly, thereby causing him to do melacha on Shabbos. Number 2, according to the concept of vidaber davar, a Jew is not supposed to have the same speech on Shabbos as he does during the week, meaning it's supposed to be a Shabbos-tic atmosphere, and ideally we shouldn't be discussing about all the melachos we want other people to do for us. And number 3 has to do with shlichus. If you send a non-Jew to be your shaliach, your messenger, to do a melacha, it's counted as if the Jew did it himself. Alright, let's get into the deets now. Something you are allowed to tell a non-Jew is to perform an act of melacha for himself, as long as he uses his own utensils. Example, if you have a live-in and she's not feeling well, you can go tell her to make a bowl of chicken soup, but only if the utensils are her own, not yours. If your non-Jewish neighbor wants to borrow your lawnmower and he asks for yours, you're not allowed to. He needs to use his own objects. Okay, now we're getting up to the real important part here, peeps, so perk up those ears. There are 2 things you always need to keep in mind when you want to ask a non-Jew to do something for you on Shabbos or Yom Tov. Number 1, the actual Amira part. You need to make sure that how you say it is halachically okay. Number 2, what kind of benefit are you going to be gaining from the melacha being done? It can be either direct, non-direct, or just additional benefit. I know, there's a lot going on right now, but we're going to start off with some examples and hopefully we're going to get the hang of this whole Amir le'akum thing. Just remember that number 1, you have to make sure that how you say it is okay, and number 2, ask yourself what kind of benefit you'll be gaining. Okay, so direct benefit. Direct benefit is not allowed to be gained by asking a non-Jew. An example is turning on a light for you on Shabbos. You are benefiting directly. It is straight up direct benefit that you are gaining, and you may never ask him to do it, no matter how you ask it. However, if the non-Jew turns the light on for himself, that's totally fine. You can even ask them not to turn off the light when they leave. That's only if they initially turn the light on for themselves, and not the Jew. There's actually something called the halacha of macha, which states that in a case where a Jew might get direct benefit from a non-Jew's performance of a melacha, you must stop them right away. Okay, Michal, so what kind of benefit are we allowed to get? The answer is indirect benefit or additional benefit. An example would be if you ask a non-Jew to turn the light off on Shabbos. So let's say you're trying to sleep in your room, but you left the light on. If a non-Jew comes to shut it off, you don't need to leave the room. You can stay and fall asleep. Whereas, like we said before, if they turn the light on for the Jew, it would be considered direct benefit, which is a big no-no, and you would actually have to leave the room to not gain benefit. So since our society now suffers from short attention spans, I think I will cut this video into 2, and the next time we will discuss what constitutes the correct Amira to say to a non-Jew. Stay tuned, everyone! Okay, just realized that I sound like Barney the Dinosaur when I do that voice, which is awkward.
Created using Powtoon.